I want to touch on an issue before we close out our report today that has been much covered in some members of the press. It affects the County of Westchester and the City of Rye. The City of Rye is my home community. It's where I served on the Rye City Council many years ago, and I've represented Rye City in every public capacity that I've had. There's been a controversy which has taken the City of Rye and Westchester County into court, and I'd like to highlight a few bullets about this. What you read in the newspaper obviously is written through the eyes of the reporters involved, but we in the county have a certain perspective which we have to share with you. Now, there is a court decision that is on appeal, so it is difficult for me to comment very generally on much of this, but I do want to lay out a bit of a timeline of things that have happened for those that follow this, particularly those who live in the City of Rye. The City of Rye government determined at some point in time unilaterally to place the county-owned Playland amusement park on the city tax rolls as a taxable property. It is generally understood that the assets of any government are not taxable by any other government. So we as Westchester County, we're not able to tax New York State for the presence of state roads or state facilities within the county. We can't tax the federal government where there's a federal facility that resides within Westchester County. And similarly, that's true for any of the local governments that have their assets, and we can't put county taxes on that. That applies to the city taxes and the village taxes and the town taxes as well. This is the long-established tradition. It's particularly true with parkland as well as religious institutions and so forth. They are tax exempt. Governments are not eligible to tax property that is owned by other levels of government. But the Rye City government made the determination for their reasons, their interpretation, that Playland now could be taxed, and they put it on the tax roll. By so doing, what they did was arbitrarily expand the size of the Rye City tax roll, and that has created ramifications for the Rye City School District and for the County of Westchester that are negative. And when you base that taxation on a total assessment roll established by the city, but a significant portion of that is illegally placed on the tax roll, you have inflated the amount of taxable property that both the school district and the county are counting on to pay for overall services. Westchester County sued the City of Rye, asserting that what they did was illegal. State Supreme Court Judge Ann Minahan adjudicated the case and ruled that the city's actions was, quote, unlawful, and asserted in her ruling, quote, Rye's claim to the contrary was disingenuous, end quote. The court decided in favor of the county that what the city did by adding Playland to the tax roll was illegal. Rye launched a lawsuit against the county in which they also argued that they did not owe the amount of money that they are to return to the county each year based on the taxability. Every other municipality in the county establishes a certain amount of taxable money which they send to the county. Rye City, uniquely, did not do that because of the quibble over the Playland situation. In that lawsuit, the judge ruled, quote, Rye's effort to collect taxes on Playland was a deliberate misuse of the taxing power, end quote. The city legally owes the county $14 million in taxes, which they collected and have in their possession. Rye City has appealed the judge's rulings in these cases. There's an argument that Rye City provides fire and additional police services and protection to Playland, and that argument is a valid argument. We believe, those of us who run county government, that it warrants negotiation between the City of Rye and the county to increase payment by the county to the city to cover those services. Those are negotiations that we've had with other municipalities in other facilities around Westchester County. But it is a subject of negotiation, not taxation. The city cannot levy taxes to accomplish that additional revenue. Let me highlight that in 2019, this county government went to the state for authority to expand the amount of sales tax revenue that we achieved in Westchester County. We voluntarily had the bill written to share 20% of that additional revenue back with every town, every village, and the two small cities of Westchester County. This was a windfall of money to all of those jurisdictions, which included the City of Rye. They had to do nothing to get the additional money, just accept the additional percentage of money that was coming into them. That was a major financial benefit for those cities, towns, the two cities, all the villages, and all the towns. And we did that voluntarily. You look at other counties around us, very few of them share back anything of sales tax revenue with the local government. Sullivan County, Suffolk County, Putnam County share nothing back with the local governments. We in Westchester County knew that local taxpayers pay taxes to the county as well as to local governments, and they too should have some of the relief on property taxes that occurs when you have other outside revenues. That was a sign of us caring about the ability for Rise City and every other affected local government to fund the services that they provide. I can go back to before that. On a personal level, when I was a New York State Assemblyman representing the city of Rye and other communities, we were able to obtain state authority for hotel occupancy tax revenues. That were additional revenues for the city of Rye. We did it as well for the village of Rye Brook and for the city of New Rochelle, that helped them balance their budgets with additional revenue which they did not have to generate from the property tax base. So that makes it very clear what my personal intent has been over the years and now my intent as a county executive. I served on that city council for 4 years. I've lived every day in this community for almost 40 years of my life. But the unwarranted action by the city of Rye precipitated this crisis. It has hurt the finances of our school district, which now has budgeted on the basis of higher tax revenue that they can't claim because the county is not a legitimately taxable item down at Playland. And this has caused the city school district to have a difficulty financially. Any solution to resolve this problem has to begin with the city dropping its legal appeal. They're entitled for their appeal, but we won decisively at the trial level. I believe we're going to win decisively at the appellate level. You pursue the appeal, you will spend legal fees in order to continue the appeal. We will spend legal fees to defend the appeal. And at the end of the day, I believe the court is going to rule once again in the favor of the county that what the city did was illegal. They need to drop that appeal, and they also need to admit fault. In this society, we seem to be unable to admit fault when fault occurs. But it's important because there is a principle. No municipality can turn to tax the county government to solve their own financial problems. You are double taxing residents when you do that. You're telling the residents of all of Westchester County that money has to go to one municipality to pay for that municipality's resources, and all the rest of the communities have to pay. And then that would apply to other locations all across the county and all across the state. It's a clearly established principle that you cannot tax property when it's owned by another government. Rise City must accept that and must admit error. At that point, we can sit and negotiate, and that negotiation will involve additional money from the county to the city to help support their police and fire needs, which are legitimate requests. But it has to be done cooperatively, and there must be a solution for the Rise City School District. The Rise City School District cannot be hung out to dry. Whatever money the city owes the county, once we've had an agreement of how to go forward, we can go forward with a process that would be less onerous in paying back that money. But it's important to understand what you read in the paper may give you a certain point of view on this, but I'm going directly to the judicial results of these court cases, which were declarative that you cannot tax Playland as if it were private property. It is public property owned by the county for parkland purposes. On that basis, can we resolve our issues? Most every issue in government is resolvable if reasonable people will agree to work together to do those things. We're committed to doing that on this issue and on every other issue.